Good evening everyone and welcome to Gundam News. And this week we had the return of a series that I thought Bandai had kind of forgotten about. The Gundam Artifact series. The series of cheap miniature Gunpla going for 550 yen a pop for US, but despite that cheap price and small form factor, these kits are extremely detailed and brimming with style. The lineup this time consists of the Zaku Cannon, the O, the Hyakushiki, the Double Zeta Gundam, and the Silver Bullet Suppressor. And as you can tell from the pictures, they do look very distinct from their standard counterparts. Just like the previous sets, they're a bit more bulky, and there's also more of a focus on the inner frame with a lot of added pistons. And what you can also tell from the pictures is that they're molded in a beigey, pale orangey color, which is reminiscent of resin kits. Unless you get a rare version, which is molded in clear blue. The set is slated for a February release, and each packet contains a soda-flavored piece of chewing gum. And I also find it funny that we're getting a new Zaku Cannon Gunpla, just as I'm building my Zeta Gundam version of the Master Grade Zaku Cannon. And talking about Gunpla, just in today, we got the Premium Bandai Limited High Grade Leo R, or Leor as it's spelled in Japanese, because it seems like the Leo and the R are supposed to kinda flow into each other, so Leor. But however you want to pronounce it, this is a heavily customized Leo that will set you back 2,420 yen, 17 US, and it comes with a much fancier looking exterior, a beam lance, a dedicated right holding hand for that lance, and an open left hand to complete the pose. All of which can be yours in January. And if you then want some more soda-flavored chewing gum, you can also grab the upcoming FW Gundam Converge sets. Slated for January, we have the Gundam Seed Freedom, Revive, Rising and Immortal set, going for 2,970 yen, 21 US. And as you can tell from the name of the set, it consists of the Rising Freedom Gundam and the Immortal Justice Gundam. They are mostly the same figures as the ones from the 24th lineup of the standard FW Gundam Converge series, but they now also have a compass logo on their left shoulder. And then slated for February, we have the Gundam Seed Freedom Revive Mighty, going for 2,750 yen, 19 US. And the two figures in this set are the Strike Freedom Gundam Type 2 and the Proud Defender, which then come together to form the Mighty Strike Freedom. And here, the difference with the standard counterpart is a bit more substantial. Instead of a standard white, both the Proud Defender and the Strike Freedom are now a more fancy pearl white. And despite being special sets, both are regular releases, so I will have them linked down below. Yesterday then, we got the full lineup for the next Gundam-related Ichiban Kuji set, being the third Witch from Mercury set. As a quick reminder, Ichiban Kuji is like Bandai's lottery system thingy, where every ticket wins something. Although of course, the lower prizes are more of a consolation type prize. So for 790 yen a ticket, 5 US, the prizes are as follows. The A prize, or the big prize, is a Suletta and Mirine figure based on the end card of episode 24, and this figure really nails their smiling faces. The B prize is a visual stand of that same image. The C prize is a visual stand of the commemoration version of that image. The D prize is an adorable Chokonoko figure of Suletta and Mirine, and if you look closely, you can even see their
up for interpretation
rings. The E prize then is a random acrylic stand of one of the 11 main characters at the end of the series. The F prize, or the aforementioned consolation prize, is a clear file and sticker set, and if you manage to get the last ticket, you'll also get this figure of Suletta and Mirine, but instead of a wide laugh, it's more of a regular smile. But unlike the A prize, where I said that the smile looked really good, well, where the laugh looked really good, the smile here feels a bit off. But you'll be able to draw for these prizes starting October 29th. Still somewhat figure related then are these 4 Gundam Seed Freedom keychain palm-sized plushies. They go for 1,980 yen each, 14 US, and there's Kira, Lacus, Athrun, and Kigali, with each of them looking like they're ready to go to a fancy party in December. And over at the Gundam base, they'll be releasing these Gunpla Boxart acrylic stands on the 28th. For 1,210 yen a piece, HUS, there is the high-grade Universal Century RX-72 Gundam, being the new one, the high-grade Universal Century Zeta Gundam, also the new one, the high-grade Gundam G-Self Perfect Pack, and the high-grade Gundam Exia. And for 1,540 yen a piece, 11 US, the Master Grade, the Gundam Base Limited RX-78-3 G3 Gundam, version 3.0, and the Master Grade, the Gundam Base Limited Unicorn Gundam Luminous Crystal Body version. And what I find really funny here is that the high-grade Universal Century RX-78-2 Gundam Gunpla is cheaper than the acrylic stand. Meanwhile, on the gaming front then, last week in Gundam Battle Operation 2, we had some issues on the PlayStation, causing that week's update to be pushed back a bit, but eventually, the mass production type Zeta Gundam joined the fray. Not to be confused with the plethora of other mass production type Zeta Gundams, like the Zeta Plus, the Rigazi, or the Rizel. And then this week, the Mater has joined the fray, and on Steam you can suit up with the Xi Gundam. On the global version of UC Engage then, the UR Uso Ewen and his UR Victory 2 Gundam have become available as super limited unit assemblies, and a new clan battle event went live. In Gundam Extreme vs. 2 Overboost, the Rick Contio and Chronicle Asher will become available on October the 2nd. In the Arsenal Base arcade game, new UT boosters have become available, meaning that there's 35 more cards to collect, with the featured cards being the Gotorlaton and Katagina Luz, the Narrative Gundam C packs and Jonah Basta, the Barbs and Mika, and Raraya Apparel. And then last but not least, we got some interesting new mobile suit designs from the Japanese version of UC Engage, both of which are featured in the latest animated cutscene. There is the Zeta Gundam I-Field Claw and I-Field Blaster equip type, and the Double Zeta Gundam Hyper Giga Cannon equip type. The Zeta Gundam comes with a claw-shaped I-Field generator on the right arm and a physical sword on its left arm, and somehow the sword can also be used as a beam rifle, which is probably where the blaster in the name comes from. As for the new Double Zeta Gundam, it kind of feels like we have the full armor Double Zeta Gundam at home, because it's just the Double Zeta Gundam again with another giant cannon, something that we have seen a few times already. And its description is literally just that. Don't be fooled by the relatively large amount of Japanese characters you see on screen, because for the most part, they're talking about the regular Double Zeta Gundam, and then in the final part, they really just say that this new version has the Hyper Giga Cannon over its right shoulder, and that it is a very powerful beam weapon with a wide area of effect. So, unfortunately, despite all that text, there's nothing actually that interesting in it. And in other news, the Yasuhiko Yoshikazu exhibition has begun in the Iwami Art Museum and will last until December the 2nd. The cover for the Gundam Seed Freedom novel included with the Might edition of the Blu-ray box has been revealed and is on screen right now. The special edition of Gundam Seed Freedom will be screened at the Movix Amagasaki Film Festival on October 11th and 13th and will include concert-grade audio equipment. And until December the 25th, there's a Gundam stamp rally in Odaiba. And once you've got all of the stamps, you'll not just have a really cool illustration of the unicorn, but you can also win some prizes. You can show your completed stamp cart at the Gundam Base Tokyo Annex Store, which is located on Diversity's second floor, where they will then give you a lottery ticket, which you can use at the main Gundam Base Tokyo store, which is located in the same building, but on the 7th floor. Prizes include a 500 yen coupon, $3.50, a 1000 yen coupon, $7, a glass with the life-size unicorn on it, or if you're really lucky, the main prize is a real great Gundam Base Limited Unicorn Gundam version TWC. As for the things you could get this week then, we started on the 20th with a bunch of miscellaneous merchandise. There was the Char Custom Stationery Collection with things like clear files, pen cases, a desk mat, pins, cutter mats, and even a magnifying glass pro with a stand. And then there were a lot of Gundam Seed Freedom things in celebration of the special edition of the movie, which have become available at the theaters where the movie is shown or online through Fruvi. And these things go from towels to keychains to posters to even PVC pouches. One day later then, the Robot Spirits Hizack version anime was released for 9,350 yen, 65 US. And fortunately, unlike the similarly sized model kit, it comes with just about all of the accessories that it should come with, and even a little bit more. We have its most common loadout, being the Zoku Machine Gun Kai and a Beam Saber, which also comes with 2 Beam Saber Blade effect parts, 1 straight one and 1 slashing one, and we also have its other loadout too, the Heat Hawk with the beam rifle that is most commonly associated with the Marasai. And this thing also comes with a beam effect part, removable E-Pack, and 2 spare E-Packs. Other accessories then include the missile pods, the shield, 2 thruster effect parts, and a bunch of hand options. And I also think that these are some of the best proportions I've ever seen on any Hizack figure or model kit, period. So this is definitely one hell of a figure. On the 23rd then, we got some snacks. For 162 yen a pack, a little over $1, you could get the Itajaga Mobile Suit Gundam Visual Art Collection. One package contains 1 Itajaga wafer thingy and 1 of 28 random metallic carts. These feature famous scenes from the original Gundam G, Gundam Seed, and the Witch from Mercury, with the ultra rare carts featuring an extra golden trim. But if you want to get really luxurious, in late December, there's the Realistic Model Series Mobile Suit Gundam White Base Catapult Deck Anime Edition for 1/144th scale high-grade series. Simply put, it is a re-release that now comes with a more vivid anime-esque color scheme. Instead of being plain gray, we now have blues and greens, which are nicely contrasted with bright yellow markings. And then with the added shading, it really makes this set feel like it just jumped straight out of the anime. Included in the set are also 7 in-scale minifigures, 3 hangers to put your mobile suits on, 3 catwalks to get into the cockpit, 1 small crane arm and 1 big crane arm, and a launch pad. And all of this can be yours for 18,480 yen, 128 US. For this week's reading material then, there was the November issue of Model Graphics featuring the Master Grade Hizack, as well as other Federation mobile suits like the Jim Kai and the Jim Custom. The November issue of Hobby Japan, where they clearly don't know how to use a spell check because this diorama is titled the Big Ginning. The November issue of Shonen Sunday Special, in which Gundam Aggressor is being serialized, and we also got some manga volumes. For the new ones, there was the 3rd volume of Witch from Mercury Vanity's Heart, the 3rd volume of Gundam Valpurgis Eve, and the 3rd volume of the Red Giant 3rd MS Team. And for the re-releases, there was the 2nd volume of Plamo Wars that was released through Fukan, linked down below. Plus, in addition to those, on October the 2nd, the Rihiro and Masahiro art book will be releasing, featuring all kinds of artwork from Yamane Rihiro's 40 years career. And while there might be no Gundam on the cover, there will be a lot of Gundam on the inside, with basically every Gundam TV anime being featured from the OG Gundam to the Gundam Seed series, plus also Gundam Seed Freedom. But the biggest news for the Gundam reading material then was also the newest news, because just this morning I saw that the November issue of Gundam Ace went up for sale, and in it, they announced Gundam Seed Freedom Astray. So I hope that you're ready for some more low Gule action, because typically, Astray does not disappoint. The Gundam Seed anime might be divisive, to put it lightly, but I do like how everyone can agree that Gundam Astray is awesome. And also in this issue of Gundam Ace, we're introduced to a new mass production version of the Gundam F90, being the F80. On to the apparel news then, where Strict G kicked things off on the 20th with 2 G Gundam inspired Skajan jackets, also known as souvenir jackets. They go for 33,000 yen each, 228 US. The available designs are Domon and Master Asia, and they're designed so that you can also wear them inside out. So you're basically getting 2 jackets for the price of 1. And they'll be available on both the online store and the physical stores. But in the physical stores, they're only available from the 21st. Also on the 20th then, pre-orders on Bankore began for a bunch of acrylic stands. For 1,650 yen, 11 US, there is this Try-On 3 logo display X stand. For 1,100 yen, 8 US, there's a bunch of Gundam Seed Freedom connectable acrylic stands. And while most of the stands in this lineup were already available, there's also a few new ones. There's Alexei Konoe, Albert Heinlein, Arnold Neumann, Toya Mashima, Mirialia Ha, and finally Kigali Eula Atha in her pilot suit. Took them long enough to release that one. And they also immediately got pre-orders up for big acrylic stands with those new additions, which then go for 2,750 yen each, or 19 US. And there were also some other miscellaneous Gundam Seed Freedom things, like these Compass, Zaft, or Terminal glow-in-the-dark keychains that go for 1,100 yen each, 8 US, bath towels with a screenshot from the movie that go for 4,620 yen each, 32 US, a Zagok tissue box cover for 7,150 yen, 50 US, or these work-related acrylic stands. They have a work-related message on them with a fitting background, and the available messages are on paid leave, eating, please do not disturb, away from keyboard, away, in a meeting, done working for the day, achieved a goal, taking a break, on lunch break, and working from home. Each going for 1,760 yen, 12 US. And all of these things are slated for a November release, except for the Zagok tissue box cover, which is slated for a December release. And as always, let's quickly wrap things up with the polls. With Silver Phantom releasing on October the 4th, Gundam.info wants to know which mobile suit we're looking forward to seeing in action the most. The Delta Zion, the Yacht Weiss, the Riggsy Argent Keel Custom, or the Zissa Joff ID Custom. And unsurprisingly, the Delta Zion is in a relatively comfortable lead. Like, it's not just the main machine, but it's also a variant of a really cool base mobile suit. So I don't think there's any doubt that that thing is going to stay in first place. For second place though, we do see quite a difference between the main website and Twitter. So on Gundam.info, the other 3 are roughly equal, and they're like not even close to the Delta Zion. While on Twitter though, the Riggsy pulls ahead of the Yacht Weiss, but the Zissa is in dead last, so I think that thing is going to stay there as well. Personally though, the machine that caught my attention the most was that vanilla gym from the Origin that is somehow still flying around and kicking ass in the UC 0090s. Like, I really want to know what's up with that thing. But since it wasn't an option in the poll, I just went with the Delta Zion. And if you want to cast your vote, I'll of course have the links down below. And that has been all for this week's Gundam news. As always, a big thank you to the Patreon supporters. I hope everyone watching has a great evening, and I'll see you all next week with more Gundam news.